Hello everybody, BB Inc. here. Today I want to talk about a universal build again, but this time going from iPhone 5 to whatever. I know some of you have probably seen the other one going from iPad to everything else, but that doesn't work very well when you're trying to go from or using that same technique to go from iPhone to iPad. It causes some problems, but I found a way to make it work. And I normally don't mess with iPhone too much, mostly iPad, so I have never really sat down and do this, but today I just decided to. So basically I'll go ahead and show it working first so you can see what's happening. And now you see everything. This is iPhone 5, everything's fine, and this represents the screen height and offset, and this red line is the top of the iPhone 5 screen, so you can see where it's at and what's happening. So if I change to iPhone 6, use stretch of course, hit reset, everything will still look the same because the aspect ratio is pretty much the same, only a pixel difference, less than a pixel. But if we go to iPad, this is where you would normally have problems. And you can see everything still fits perfect. And you don't lose any screen, you're actually gaining screen, but only in height. We actually gained 106 pixels. So you have to, that's what you would have to deal with. On the old way, you would actually gain screen to the right over here, so you'd have to take your control here and move it over, or your pause would have to move over. You'd have to center this back to the center. And but on this one, the only thing we're doing is we're moving stuff up. So I moved live, score, and pause up. And the background, I actually centered it and made it bigger. That way it would fit. And this would do the same thing on iPhone. The old Legacy was almost like an iPad sort of, so you'd gain some space there too. And it would work on 720. Aspect ratio here is about the same too. You can see that fits perfect on there. MacBook is a little different. Not much though, 35 pixels. So still I'm just moving stuff up to make it always fit. So that should work really well for anybody who's started with iPhone 5. And this would probably work with any device. I wouldn't use it on iPad though, but if you started with an iPhone 5 or an iPhone 6 or a MacBook, you could do this way. So what am I doing? Pretty much the same thing. I've created two attributes, cam size and offset. And then I have an unliked actor, and this is on the intro. I always put this on my intro. Two constraints and a change attribute. First constraint changes the cam size, and I'm doing game scene size height times 568 divided by screen size width. And remember, this here is actually, you get into device, screen size, height, and width. Okay, and then that sets up the cam size for the attribute we made, and then for the offset it's just cam size minus 320, which of course is the iPhone scene size or height. And then change attribute is just setting up the camera. This is our actual game camera, current scene, camera size, and height. And then we're just changing that to the cam size. And these are nothing but my display texts. And if you're displaying the text, what you would want to do is get it in the center, so it's just cam size divided by 2. X center, Y center. And that just changes the next scene. And these two attributes are rules or attributes, whatever you call them. You only need these on the first scene, because once they've been set up, they're set up. The only one you're going to put on every scene is this one. Okay, so I have this one here, and then on my first scene, I have it here. That way it sets up the camera. And then as far as the actors go, I don't change anything, but the lives, pause, and score all have this same rule, set position Y to set position Y, plus game offset. That'll always move them up to the right spot based on whatever device you're playing on. And the sky, I'm actually changing the Y value to the center of the screen. Cam size divided by 2 is the center. Because remember, the X position is not going to change. It's going to still be 284 no matter what device it's on. That's always the center. And then the height, I'm just changing the cam size to make sure it always covers the full screen. And I'll show you how these work by turning that off. I'm going to turn one of these off. Run it. And as you can see, everything's fine here. But if we change to iPad, stretch, it doesn't fit. Because we didn't change the size of the background, so all this empty space didn't get used. And the lives, I turned it off, so it stayed where it's at. So basically, you're still looking at the iPhone5 here. These moved up because they have the rules. So the only thing you'd ever have to change is really just any background that takes up an entire area, or you could just add stuff up here, whatever you want to do, really. And then of course your HUD. The bottom never has to change because it's always going to be the same. So that'd probably make it easier for a lot of people. And let's see if we turn this back on. Turn this on. And if we run it, everything works perfect. So hopefully this will be helpful. And I'll post this template too, so you can just download it and look at it. And that's it. Hopefully it helps.